So in a minute, we're going to be joined by Sue Mardon, who's head of technical at Alison Hayes, and she's going to be talking about that cultural side of things. So Danny just hinted there, it's the way that people are going to work. We've zeroed in a lot on tools. We've talked a bit about mindset, but we've zeroed in very much on technical capabilities and tool sets. I think what we're looking to do now with this next session, what I'm really looking forward to hearing from Sue and from the work they've done with Optitex and Alison Hayes, is how 3D is actually influencing a brand's culture, how 3D is actually changing the way that a brand thinks about how they work, how it's consolidating expertise and building trust. Because if you're able to bring something to life in 3D, you are opening up different areas of the value chain, different areas of the product lifecycle that have historically been siloed off, as Gap mentioned earlier. They've been closed off to different people. When you start to be able to bring things to life more quickly and see things in 3D and make those decisions based on digital assets, you're able to open up a whole knowledge base. You're able to bring different job roles that have traditionally been disconnected a lot closer together. So I'm really looking forward to this next session, and I hope everyone in the audience will join me in welcoming Sue on stage. Hi, Sue. How are you doing?
Hi. I'm great, thank you. I'm great.
Excellent. Glad to hear it.
I'm getting ready to share. I'm just trying to figure out if you guys can see my screen. I don't think you can. 1 second.
Hi, Sue. If you put it up into full presenter mode, I can bring it up for us.
Sorry, if I bring it?
If you put it into full presenter mode, I should be able to bring it up for us.
So there we go.
Okay.
Hang on. Presenter view.
Yep, we're just seeing the backstage of it. So if you want to try resharing your screen one more time. Thank you again to everyone who's in our audience for sticking with us. We have some really great sessions to wrap up.
They want me to share my screen.
I'm seeing it pop up in the backstage, Sue, and we're just seeing the version with your notes. So we'll need to reshare it to a new page.
Oh, you shared a window, not screen. Stop screen. 1 second, please, guys.
No worries at all. For those of you sticking with us, we have a number of great sessions for the rest of today. Sue is here from Alison Hayes, and we're going to also talk to some folks from Calypso, Gabrielle Kennedy, and Robin Lewis from the Robin Report, and Denise and Candela from Walmart.com will be here to close out today with some really exciting stuff for really what's next in digitization. So stick with us and we'll be right back. Sue, that looks great. Are you ready to go?
Yes, so you can see my screen, yeah?
Yep, we got it. And
great.
Take it away.
I'm going to take it away. Thank you for your patience, everybody. So welcome to my session at the 3D Tech Festival. Just to say thank you to Alvanon and Optitex for inviting me to speak today. So I'm going to start with an introduction. So my name's Sue Mardon and I'm Head of Technical at Alison Hayes. And today, in collaboration with Optitex, I want to share with you the secrets to trusted 3D. So a little about myself first. I've worked in fashion manufacturing and retail for over 40 years, and I started out as a pattern maker. And over the years, I've gained a broad experience and knowledge of the fashion industry, from development to production. And to this day, I still have a passion for fashion.
Hey, Sue, I'm so sorry. We are looking at the wrong view. We're looking at the notes view. If we want to try it one more time. Your slides look beautiful. I'm so sorry about this.
That's okay. Okay, so okay.
There you go. Go for it. Thank you.
No worries. No worries. I apologize, guys. So the last 20 years I've been Alison Hayes, and there I currently head up the sample room and the tech team. Alison Hayes started in the 60s, and their business grew, and they started open their UK offices. And then as the business continued to grow, they expanded their operations into Romania, where they still have a large operation now, which includes the sample room motor. Their manufacturing operations have expanded Far East and Near East and to meet the client demand. And our key clients are Primark, Asda, Tesco's and Next, amongst others. So when I joined Alison Hayes all that time ago as a sample room coordinator, the sample room was here in London, and Alison Hayes were already beginning a transition from a manual operation to an all CAD operation. And that included the pattern cutting at that time, grading and marker making. And I can still remember that transition and the reluctance of the pattern makers to embrace CAD. And I had to tell them, I'm not going to confiscate your shares. Please see CAD as like an addition to your kit. And I'm happy to say our acceptance of 3D has been thoroughly embraced by the team, and we haven't had that reluctance. It's been a really good add-on to what we were already doing. So at the same time that I joined, they were building the offshore workroom motor, as I mentioned, and that was to be an all CAD operation from the offset. And it was really clear at that time, and we're talking 20 years ago, that you couldn't work in multiple locations, multiple countries without having a CAD system. I mean, the days of sending graded cards, pattern sets on a truck on a Friday night across Europe were really dying, and CAD really became an all-important piece of our equipment. So our 3D journey, and why 3D, and why Optitex? So I just want to share with you a little bit of our experience on the journey into 3D, and I hope it'll give you a little bit of an insight on what it took and maybe inspire you a little bit to try it for yourself. 3D has been a great success story for us, and one of which I'm immensely proud. So why choose 3D? I first came across 3D about 7 or 8 years ago, and when I saw it, it immediately formed a vision in my head. A sample room full of pattern makers, all using 3D. I was thinking, oh, all the resources you could save. You know, the flow, how easy the workflow would be. And for me, it was immediately always a when are we going to have 3D and not an if. So I'd say currently 3D is being thought of as the sustainable option. And I hear a lot about 3D being sustainable, and that is true. However, when we went to look around 5 years ago at what was out there, it wasn't our key driver, although a very happy byproduct, I must say. We originally were looking to reduce our operational costs and improve efficiency. So costs were rising, trade was demanding businesses to be more agile, and this couldn't happen by just pushing people to work faster. We didn't want to compromise the quality or cut corners. We wanted to maintain a good quality product, but working in a much slicker way. So we needed to achieve the shortest turnaround time possible and reduce waste. We needed a quick turnaround time, fabulous design samples, right first time that could be fitted immediately with the customer without need for remaking. There simply wasn't and still isn't time in the critical path, and remakes are eating into the margin. So that's really why we chose 3D. The changes in customer expectations, the business driving it, and it pushed us how to think, how can we cut our costs, do the same less and more efficiently? So before 3D, CAD was always seen as a technical tool. It was something technical had to do the work. And we realized that 3D had to be a software that would work across many departments. And it had to appeal to all stakeholders. So technical, design, sales, and the customer all had to like the 3D output. So we spent quite a few years, a couple of years, looking, consulting with our customers about systems that they'd seen and looking at different suppliers, speaking to users about how is it really for you. And we realized we had a few options. We could stay with the then current software supplier and add their 3D. We could stay with that supplier and add on somebody else's 3D, or we could go end to end and use one software supplier end to end. And we eventually decided to completely change our software end to end to Optitex. And one of the reasons for that is because we wanted to maintain a technically strong software. We wanted good quality, precise patterns suitable for mass production. And we also wanted something aesthetically pleasing that designers like, sales and customers alike. And we felt for us that Optitex really did that. So, making the virtual equal the physical. That's what we're trying to do, right, with 3D. But we need to build trust into that system. And so now our journey into 3D, once we'd chosen Optitex, it began. And it's a journey. And as I mentioned, my vision was the final destination, let's say. And in many ways, there were lots of stops along the way. I needed to share that vision, that final stop, with the stakeholders for them to see and get them to come along on that journey with me. And the key to that being successful was building their trust in the system. So what does trust mean in the context of 3D? We had all the questions. Will my physical garment really look like that? Will I be able to render everything that we do, or will some things just be too complicated? How will we do that? Will the avatar be the same fit as our customer model? Was the avatar the right proportion? We had to work very hard to eliminate those doubts, build trust in the system and the users, and that virtual render could be as good a representation of the physical sample. So we started our planning, more planning, and then some more planning. We scheduled the training, and remember, we had to do everybody 2D, marker, grading, 3D. And just on top of that, we decided to completely revamp our tech books. So we scheduled it. We made sure the stakeholders knew all about the training, when it was happening. We managed the workload really closely, and we put inside contingency plans in case of emergencies or samples that needed to be done, but we stuck to that schedule and we made that training happen. So the training happened. We got our team of super users, and Optitex advised us on the profile of users and actually did say to us, it doesn't need to be your best pattern maker, but somebody who's interested in technology, somebody who's curious and a bit savvy that way, could equally run that system. We were kind of a bit stuck with that. We thought, oh, we'll take all our good people into the system and then all the others that remaining won't be as strong, and how are we going to make this happen? But actually, Optitex were correct. The team that we have now, if I can describe them with all great respect, a team of ladies working in a remote sample room on the edge of an industrial town in Romania, a good hour outside of the city. They're young ladies, they're mothers, they're grandmothers, they're a real mixed bunch. Some came from machining, some from factory backgrounds. They're all using the system. It's possible. It really is possible. You don't need to bring in special people from outside. There is a learning curve and a tendency to want to revert back to your old system if the possibility is there for you. But you have to keep pushing, otherwise it all slows down your progress. And actually, we try to accelerate that learning, and Opti advised us against it. We took their advice, and I must say they were right. So I'd use whatever software you have, use their experience and their knowledge to help you along the way. Adoption varied across departments and customers, and it always tallies with their own priority at that time. If they haven't got the headspace for it to really understand it, or, you know, customers are often need tangible things. They're still selling physical garments, so they still want to see physical garments. So buying teams have been the last to buy into the concept, but it's changing and we can work on that. So we built our solid base. We created an avatar library which reflected our customers' avatar, either their model or making sure they fit their stand, making sure our blocks fitted okay, that there were no glitches that could ruin the aspect of the garment. We made sure we understood the fabric library, and where there were fabrics missing, that we would key fabrics, we got them input. We really collaborated and asked for feedback, honest feedback from the users, from the stakeholders, and we made adaptations. We realised where we weren't strong, we worked on it, we fixed it. We created super user teams, feedback teams, we created best practice manuals. We really, really took this whole onboarding process seriously, and we set KPI targets, we monitored them, we shared them, we were aiming for a target, and it made the whole process, I believe, much more successful. So I think that was about 5 months. Sounds a long time in this business, but it was worth it. There we were, we'd gone live. Speed was improving, quality was improving month on month. And then what happens? Pandemic strikes. Business came to a halt globally, lockdowns, yet we still had orders to process. Our offices in the UK shut. Romania workroom shut. Our customers went to work from home. There were no fit models initially. What were we going to do? We needed those orders to continue to get made. We needed to make those deliveries. This was about continuing to be in business. Why? 3D, of course. I can't tell you how happy we were that we had the system. We made sure everybody was suitably set up on their laptops and they worked from home. We had pattern cutter, garment tech, designer, customers working in 3D with video conferencing, and we made those orders. We fit and sealed in 3D, we got them completed, and they went into work. And I really don't know what the option would have been if we hadn't have had that system. For us, it was really, really important that we had got that. But also another plus with the pandemic, is, if we can call them pluses, is it really accelerated everybody's exposure to 3D in that way, but also how we communicated with each other, working from remote locations, how we shared. So 3D, our timing with 3D was great, but also the pandemic for us really did accelerate our use. I love this slide, I have to say that, guys. So our training is complete and we started to incorporate its use into our daily workflow. So we'd reached our destination, or had we? This is where the true versatility of 3D came to light. So we built our solid base, we gained trust within the company, across with our customers and with cross departments within us. We've nailed that trial approval process where you know, the designers were still saying in the background, oh, could I not just have that one made and sent to me, please? No, we have to work in 3D. We can't send it. You won't get it. There's DHL problems. There's delivery problems. We haven't got fabric coming. So it really helped us to push it. And now we are 100% trial approval process is in 3D. And then we were ready to explore. And at this point, we also collaborated with one of our customers to show them a range in 3D only. We sent them fabrics for them to handle, and they approved the stylings. We made fits. They approved those fits in 3D, and we went to production without them ever seeing a physical sample. Great trust going on there with them, with us, that we would produce them a garment. The first garment they received was a production sample. I don't think they want to do everything like that, but I really think there's room for more of that in the future, and trust and confidence growing amongst the customer is showing by allowing that to happen. So at this point, we also then started to explore complementary software to enhance the renders from Optitex. So those that you can see in front of you here are from DAS. And this is now where the culture of CAD belongs to technical and design do something else starts to break down. Suddenly this becomes a tool across the departments. So we'll render them, we'll show them the avatars, but they may take them, they Photoshop them, they might put them into new backgrounds, they might touch them up or change them slightly, but we're working together. It's a much more collaborative piece of software. And it's really helped to build the relationship between the sample room and the designers, and also improve on that trust. So they're continuing to collaborate, they're continuing to work. The styles are limitless. When you suddenly realize you can enhance your styles with the way that your avatars, your renders and your marketing looks, it just opens up a whole series of opportunities. So the benefits of digital first. A little bit of data and behind that story. So pattern cutting productivity improved. Now, even though the toile render process had been added to their productivity, to their workload, their productivity actually improved by 29%. I think that is phenomenal. And the reason behind that is because they would make their draft, send their pattern to print, the cutter would go on the cutting rail, a cutter would put it in a rail of work. When he got to it, he'd cut it out, pass it to the machinist rail where it would wait until there was time for it to be sewn. Then it would be put onto the stand by the room coordinator and the machine, and then go back to the pattern cutter, who would have to stop what they're working on and deal with this particular style, send it over to the designer and wait for the comments back. This is all eliminated now. All the handovers, all the downtime is gone. The pattern maker is in control of that whole process, from design through toile up to pattern ready to cut. And we were very, very pleasantly surprised at that improvement. There's also that reduction in manpower brought about by the cutting, machining and coordination that's was no longer required, that is now taken over by the pattern maker. And considering there's still that improvement in their own efficiency, I think that's tremendous. Toiles, which we initially thought there would always be an element of toiles that could never be made because they're far too complex. It's not true. Once they gain skills and experience, we are 100% virtual in that. And we've really got that process cracked. It's really slick. So sketch to cut sample time improved 50% because of those improvements. That handover, the overall time it takes for something to be handed out as a sketch to be ready to go to the customer is improved because of that development process time improvement. We also have reduced our use of consumables, fabric, plotting paper, Then there's the energy saving and transport, which helps lower our emissions. It's not huge. However, what it does do is raise awareness of what that can do, how we can become more sustainable, and opens up our eyes to other options that we might have. Then there were the not so obvious gains from this that we didn't expect. Pattern cutters' skill in their pattern cutting quality and their interpretation also dramatically increased and improved. Using 3D tools, heat tension, meshing, it all really helped the designer to see what was really going on in terms of fit to the body. Whereas with a toile in a solid fabric, that wasn't always apparent, especially if the toile wasn't made in a great fabric or a dark colour, or it was put on the stand badly, machined quickly, all the other things. With 3D, you're getting a consistency. It also helps the pattern cutter to view their work in 3D prior to sharing, so they can see if they've made a silly mistake. They can see if their style lines don't work, so they correct it. So the amount of work that needs correcting and going to designers is lessened, and it builds that trust with the design team because they're asking for less things to be changed. They're getting it right quicker. So it for us, we weren't expecting that impact to hit down quite as much as it did, but it did. So all that remains for me to say is, if you want to improve efficiency, cut your costs and add versatility, then give 3D a try. And I hope you found our story interesting, that it inspired you a bit, and that there's some things in there that might help you make your mind up. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Sue. That was a great presentation, and I think there's a lot of people who that idea of the pandemic's hit, thank God we have 3D. There's a lot of people who that will resonate with. And I think there's an equal number of people who are perhaps on the side of saying the pandemic's hit. I really wish that this 3D strategy that we'd kind of had on our 1 to 3 to 5 year horizon is something that we tackled a little bit sooner. So I think that I think everybody will be familiar with where that drive comes from now. And it's great to see the results that you've been able to realize with it, Alison Hayes. They're all very compelling, and it makes for a fascinating story. So thank you very much for your time, Sue. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Not at all. Perfect.